That's how AI works. It's just regurgitating stuff off the internet. And like, while sometimes that's really valuable, a lot of times it's bullshit.
Somewhere between experimenting with AI and a fundamentally different company, there's a breakthrough. The founders on this show got there faster than most people think possible. This show finds out how. Each week, one founder, one honest story. What broke, what they built, and what their company looks like now. If you're ready to make the breakthrough faster than you thought possible, you're in the right place. This is Breakthrough AI Operators. Here's your host, Roland Sieblink.
Hello, everyone. It's great to have you back in this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Breakthrough AI Operators, the show for startup leaders who are done winging it and are ready to lead like CEOs using AI for all the breakthroughs that it can have in their business. Today's guest was named Forbes 30 Under 30 and Inc.'s top 25 marketing influencers. He's worked with over 5,000 brands, including Red Bull, Verizon, and Crocs, generating nearly $3 billion in client revenue. But here's what most people miss. He didn't build a marketing agency. He built a data collection operation and spent 8 years turning that data into an AI platform that processes insights from 8,000 brands and $500 million in media spend, $700 million in media spend in the meanwhile, right? Most CMOs are making decisions in the dark. He's the one with the lights on. And with that, I'm so proud. Everybody, meet my guest, Erik Huberman, the founder and CEO of Hawke Media. Welcome to Breakthrough AI Operators, Erik.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That's excellent. You are probably the most famous guest we've had so far on this series of Breakthrough AI Operators for sure. So I'm really delighted to have you on the show. Thank you for coming. Let's delve right in, Erik. So you've worked with 5,000 brands. You told me companies are obsessed with data, but completely misunderstand their own numbers. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's the easiest example of this. There's many, many examples, but the easiest one is if you look at how people measure their advertising returns, people love to talk about ROAS. And you look at it as how much did we spend today? How much did we make today? How much did we spend this week? How much did we make this week? How much did we spend this month? How much did we make this month? Rational, I get it, except for everybody knows there's something called a sales cycle or purchase cycle. Everybody knows that it takes people time from when they see an ad to when they actually buy. And from what we've seen, that average online for e-commerce products is about a month. For other brand, sales cycles could be anywhere from a few weeks to, frankly, years. But let's just say a few weeks to a few months is probably the range usually. Yep. But it averages out to around a month. And so if it takes a month for an ad to have its effectiveness, why the hell would you ever look at what you spend today and what you make today, what you spend this week and what you make this week, and even what you spend this month and make this month? Because after the first day of the month, you're not going to see the results of that ad spend. You're going to see the results of the spend the month before. So everybody knows this. Everybody nods when I say it, but then they go back to looking at their spreadsheets on this month and this month. So it's, for me, been a pretty baffling, and that's just one example of many where you have access to data. It doesn't mean it's effective data. It's correct data. It's just data for the sake of data. And you see a lot of that with companies and how they're measuring their marketing. It's not that they don't have an access to measurement. It's that they have no idea what they're looking at.
Yeah, and marketing especially has gone through this revolution in the last 20 years or so, I think, where they had very little data and everything was done kind of like on an intuitive basis and an art form. Yeah. And then suddenly now there's plethoras of data and nobody knows what it really means or how to make a difference between data and information, right?
Exactly. And listen, I respect trying to get certainty in a world that's uncertain, but this is the part of the problem is you get these data points, you then make bad decisions. So this is another way this plays out. If I have a month-long or a 2-month sales cycle, let's make it a little easier to understand, 2-month sales cycle, and I'm spending $1,000 a day on advertising and I'm making 10 times that. So I'm spending 1,000, I'm making 10,000. Okay, great. I keep that steady. I'll probably keep spending 1,000, making 10,000. Now I want to scale my ad spend. So I decide to go from 1,000 to 5,000 a day. Well, again, it takes me an average of 2 months to get a sale. So I won't see the returns on that for 2 months. What happens? I scale to 5,000 and I'm still making 10,000 a day because I'm not thinking rationally about, oh yeah, it's going to take people time to convert. And so I ramp the spend. My revenue doesn't go up, or maybe it goes up nominally because it's an average. So sometimes people will spend, will convert a little more, but I go from spending 1,000 to make 10,000. Now I'm spending 5,000 to making 12. And I go, this didn't work. I can't scale my ad spend. This is the age old thing. I hear it all the time. We can't figure out how to scale. It's because you're not looking at the data correctly. You're looking at how much you spent today and how much you made today, as opposed to understanding it's going to take 2 months. And the hard truth is what that means is you have to scale incrementally while knowing it's going to take months to see the return, and you have to let it play out. You have to give it time. My favorite line in this is 9 women can't make a baby in a month. Like, that's not how it works.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, but what's different about marketing in that sense, Eric? I wonder, because the same phenomenon holds with, let's say, hiring a new employee who won't be productive from day one. The same will hold with product development time. Why are we patient with all these other areas and not with marketing?
Because I think, again, it's this issue of the data's there, so people look at it literally, and it's a mistake. It's a fallacy. As you mentioned in sort of the intro, we've spent a lot of time building a data platform and building data tools that when we've tried to like show people how to use it, they glaze it. They're like, I show them a bunch of benchmarks, I show them a bunch of data, et cetera, and they go, I don't know what this means. Like they have no idea how to execute against that data.
And how much of that is just basically just organizing data and the process versus how much of it are you leveraging AI in these days as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're using AI to analyze the data faster than we can. So that's a big part. We're using AI in a bunch of different functions, but it's more like, an army of 20-year-old interns, not like some high level thing. Like, I mean, my God, the stuff that data or that AI will spit back sometimes. Like, this is a great story. I just got this one. So in 2004, BJ's restaurant did a promotion, all you can eat pizza for
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Hmm.
Um, so AI indexed a 2004 article about BJ's all you can eat pizza. And when people looked at where should I go to eat on Memorial Day, it said, well, BJ's has all you can eat pizza, not taking into account the date of the article. And so that was then picked up by a bunch of influencers and turned into this whole marketing campaign they didn't mean to have, saying they were having all you can eat pizza. Meanwhile, people are showing up at the store because of these promotions that BJ's had nothing to do with, saying, where's the pizza? Where's all you can eat pizza? And all the managers are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what and they had no idea where this came from. It wasn't a thing. It was a thing 22 years ago. That's how AI works. It's just regurgitating stuff off the internet. And like, while sometimes that's really valuable, a lot of times it's bullshit. Like making really funny, kitschy videos and things that are trendy, AI is great. Making something that actually really sells a product and makes you build trust with a company, not
Hmm.
so good. So you got to be really careful how you use it. And over time, that'll evolve. But right now, people are chasing this hype train of AI is going to replace everything. And they're just buying into a rhetoric that Sam Altman and Elon Musk and these guys that are heavily invested in it want you to believe. Because on the valuation side of AI, for these companies to be worth as much as they are, AI has to replace 25% of jobs in the US or it's not
Exactly.
worth it or it's
Yeah.
overvalued. And it turns out VCs are subsidizing the cost of this shit. When it actually comes to market, I heard this other line, like, remember when Ubers were $9? Like,
Exactly. Right.
it's going to catch up, and all of a sudden you're going to have, and you've seen these headlines already, you're going to realize employees are cheaper than AI sometimes.
But you do say you use AI a lot in the business. Is it like your general principle then to always have a human in the loop? It's only assisting your employees.
Yeah.
How have you
I wouldn't
drawn the
say
line?
that's like a defined rule. I don't really know where we would just let AI run wild though. Like I don't think that it really has the capability to do that yet. Am very adamant about using it. Like I constantly tell people if I give a tedious task, I'm like use AI. Like
Yeah.
I got something the other day. We were working on a design project like for us internally. And I
Yep.
just, instead of giving them my comments, I uploaded it into Claude. I gave Claude my comments and it came back what I wanted. I was like, here guys, I fixed it. Like
Yeah.
instead of making them go do all that work and chasing it around, it's like, I'll just tell AI to do it and just give it back to them. This is what I wanted. Thank you. So like, I'm all about using it as an augmentation tool and making
Hmm.
people more efficient and more effective. I think that's where the benefit's going to come here. To me, AI is the internet. Like it can make us more efficient, make us more productive, more productivity creates a better society. Like the amount of people that have been brought out of poverty the past 30 years is insane.
Hmm.
And where the poverty line has ended up, like, we live in a world where people just want to bitch on social media, but the truth is the world has never been better for most people. And
Yeah.
so,
Exactly. Hmm.
and so I think AI is just going to continue that. Now, this becomes interesting though, because one of the issues back to that point with social media is we live in a bit of a post fact world where everybody's just making up their own information. AI actually poses the first time I've seen a solution there, because one of the biggest challenges we've had the past, let's say 7 years more than
Hmm.
anything, is everybody's getting their own facts that validate their own beliefs. But now with AI, people are treating AI as if it's gospel, which back to the BJ's thing can be dangerous. But
Yes, yeah.
overall, I've realized that I think we live in a world where I would actually rather us all believe a falsehood than disagree on reality.
Hmm.
So it gets scary at times because depending on what they insert in there, you could end up with some completely bullshit non facts. But I'd rather everyone's go back to agreeing on things, all watching the same media, looking at the same TV shows. We were more united society back.
But isn't it also that something that you see inside a company, right? Where it's actually worse for a company if people are constantly disagreeing on what state the company is in or what they should be doing, as opposed to being aligned on any strategy, even if it's not necessarily the optimal one.
Yep, exactly. But I think uniting and marching forward is better than optimize, if that makes sense, because unifying will create a better outcome than everybody optimizing and not unifying. This is a weird way to put it, but in the Jewish community, the line is 5 Jews, 6 chefs. That's the line that they say. Like, nobody can follow, nobody can get in line, so everybody tries to lead, but they all lead in opposite directions. And so there's something about unifying that goes further than everybody trying to figure out how to optimize.
Reminds me of my home country where the neighboring countries always joke, put two Dutch people in a room and they will found three political parties. How do you deal with that unifying moving forward thing inside a company? Your company is pretty big already,
Yep.
right? And you must
Yep.
have quite a few managers and leaders underneath you. How do you keep them all aligned?
Yeah, I think you have debate, and then once the debate's over, you move forward in direction and you call it. And that's
Hmm.
the role of the CEO. Like, this is where we're going. And depending on the company, our culture, that's my role, is like, cool, all take into account. Do we agree with this? Great. You disagree? Okay, why? Valid, 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 not valid, blah, blah, moving on. This is what we're doing. And go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What mistakes do you see other CEOs make in that process where they're not taking up the role as you would see fit for a CEO?
Good question. I think, and I've made this mistake in the past and learned from it. Trying to make it a place where everybody is heard,
Hmm.
it does not mean it's a place where everybody is followed. So you kind of need to, get people to commit. And listen, there's a point where it's like, this is what we're doing, commit. And if you're not surrounded by people that are executives that are mature enough to commit, you need different executives. Interesting. Like there's a very detailed example.
Hmm.
I
Go ahead.
I believe that every service we have should have the same gross margin.
Hmm.
Whether I am running your meta ads or I am creating content for you or I'm building a website for you, it all has the same margin on our end. Because what I do is I
Hmm.
go, what does it cost me to service this? And
Yep.
then put our margin on top of it. And we're going to charge exactly what it costs with a little bit of margin to make money. Go figure where business we make money.
Hmm.
But that allows us to be disciplined about it. What that allows for me is a simplicity on the sales side where commission is the same no matter what you sell. Investment, marketing, all of it. I don't care what we're signing service wise, whatever the market wants, whatever people want to use us for, I make the same money.
Hmm.
So I can, go between all of these. I have had so many executives push back on that and say, well, this has to have more margin because it's more competitive and blah, 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 blah. And, we need to charge, we can't charge that much on this piece, but we can charge more on this piece. And I'm like, guys, you're talking to me like what we do is a commodity. Like, marketing is not a commodity. So I'm like, I do not agree with your premise that this is a commodity. So I'm going to charge what we need to charge to make the money we need to make to build the business
Yeah.
we're building. If you're telling me that that prices us out of certain industries and categories, fine. Like, then we're not going to work in those places because I'm not going to race
Right.
to the bottom. Let other people race to the bottom. I'm going to focus on delivering where we can deliver the way we want to deliver. And it's really served us. That's from not listening to many, many executives that have challenged me on that have told me why I'm wrong. And over time, and every time, and I've played with it. I've tried it. And sure enough, we start selling a bunch of the thing that now has the worst margin. And I'm looking at it going, great. So we sold a bunch of that. Top line grew, but now we have shit margin. Or we increase our margin on something and now we can't sell it. Or we increase our margin on something, we sell a little bit more of that. Now we're incentivized to, but everything else is disservice. So it's just
Mhm.
like, and it's also goes back to like a really basic business premise, which is keep it simple. KISS,
Right.
keep people stupid. Like, this is our margin on everything. How do we price it? Well, what does it cost us? Mark it up. That's our margin.
In the prep call, you mentioned something, Eric, that back in 2024, you were reaching this inflection point in your business where you were making a lot of changes to your executive team, right?
Yeah.
Was that simply in your experience because people are just optimal for a certain level of scaling and then you need somebody else to bring it to the next level? Or what really happened there?
I think that some people can grow with a company and some can't. And some people get baggage. Like I had to coach out and remove a lot of people over the past like year and a half because I
Hmm.
realized COVID we really leaned into really well. We went into
Yeah.
wartime mode. We responded
Mhm.
to the COVID challenges very well and built a great business. When COVID was kind of over, we never really transitioned back to like normal business. It took a while. And once I
Mhm.
started doing things like, hey, we got to be back in an office. It's more productive. Hey, we got to, certain changes, all these crazy remote benefits, we don't need them anymore. Like things like that.
Right.
I had people that wouldn't, we kept talking about the good old days.
Mhm.
COVID, we were doing so well. Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, we made a ton of fucking money. It was great.
Mhm.
We could spend a ton of money on you guys because we were making a ton. It's gotten tighter. It's gotten harder. We got to
Yeah.
buckle down. And I get like, it kept talking about it. Instead of forward looking how we're going to work in today's world, it was about like all the good old days. Those people got to go. Um,
Mhm.
Also, when you work with someone on a plan, you're like, hey, what's the plan for the future? How are we going to grow this? Here are the goals, et cetera. And you just don't see them building anything bigger and better or even trying anything. They got to go. Like you need people that are hard charging for a future that's better than the present. And most people aren't built that way. And most people, once they get, one challenge, one hiccup, one missed goal, they give up.
Mhm.
Grit
Mhm.
is a big part of being able to stick with a company, and most people just don't have that kind of grit. I'm not gonna say they don't have grit in general, but you have to have a specific kind of grit to be at a company, miss goals, make mistakes, have challenges, and still wanna keep charging and still be focused on the future you're trying to create, and that's hard
Mhm.
to find those people. And so when you do,
Yeah.
you hang on to them, but you also bring in people for the right time in your business. Sometimes, yeah, like, what is needed is a new person with a new perspective.
Yeah. Is it just grit, Eric, or is it also just standards or setting ambitions for yourself? I think in our prep call a while ago, you mentioned that you're looking for 10x thinkers.
I don't think I use those words because a few people use that bugs me, but I am looking for people that are, yeah, constantly striving and trying to be great. Like the way I interview now, the way I bring people in is we're trying to build something giant here, world class, dominant, growing fast, breaking things, basically creating a new paradigm in our space. That's really, really, really hard and demanding. This is not
Hmm.
an easy business. What we're
Yeah.
trying to do is not easy. It sounds exciting in a nutshell. I'm going to be a part of a rocket ship until you realize you might be the rocket fuel. So
Exactly. Right.
it's hard. And so you've got to find people that's exciting, even with all that it comes with, and be very articulate about like, this is going to be grueling, hard, long hours, all of it. And if that's what you want out of life, that's a very specific type of person. We live in a time now where hard work is seen as being taken advantage of. If you're
Hmm.
working hard for a company, you're being exploited, which is fucking insane given
Hmm.
historically most people that work hard actually do very well. But
Hmm.
this is the rhetoric we're in right now. And so you need to avoid those people and find the people that haven't bought into that bullshit and want to grind,
Hmm.
want to build, want to do something great. And that's the team I've thankfully mostly have, but I continue to try to find new people to add to that team.
Hmm. Okay. How do you make sure that that culture also spreads throughout the positions you're not hiring for directly?
Yeah, it's if you hire high performing people at the top, they don't have a lot of pay, and you coach them on make sure you hire people that like I say this to them, how I feel about you guys, you need to feel about your own teams, and they
Yeah.
need to feel about their team. Like
Hmm.
it's I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but that's how I put it is like I look at you guys as like the closer you're getting closer and closer to I don't even have to think about your part of the business. And the closer you are there, the better you get compensated here, the better you get taken care of. So like if I don't have to think about your department, that's where I want to be.
Hmm.
You need to have the same thing with your team. You all have a lot on your plate. Like, you need to look at your team and go, they've got it. So I don't have to deal with it. And then I explain to them the way I've been coached on hiring is hire great, not good. And the difference is when you have a good person, you go, yeah, this person's really good. There's this one thing, but that's fine. They're so good. I'm sure we can figure that out. That's good. Great is how the hell do I get this person to work for me?
Right. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Eric, I'd be remiss if out of all those 5,000 brands you've worked with, I wouldn't ask you like the common question, like what is the worst marketing advice that you hear founders repeat to each other?
The ROAS, we already went there. So that's number one. Um, I mean, listen, I love the Silicon Valley line of like, oh, you just do product marketing. Like if the best companies don't spend money on marketing. Like there was a long period where people would tell me Amazon doesn't spend money on marketing. Like, are
Mm,
you fucking nuts? It's public. Like they say that they spend on marketing.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was this weird vibe of like, if the product will speak for itself, and it's like, yeah, and word of mouth is really slow. So you can wait on word of mouth. The whole idea is what marketing should be doing is introducing you to a new crop of early adopters that can then spread that
Right.
word of mouth. So you get a
Hmm.
lever on the marketing. So
Is
that's
it because
probably
people
another one.
basically wanna believe in the better mousetrap, like in the first mover
Yeah.
advantage?
Well, there's another fallacy, first mover advantage. I can name a lot of first movers that had no advantage. Friendster.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say OpenAI. I think OpenAI ends up falling apart.
Hmm. I believe
So
so too. So,
I do not believe that the first mover advantage. I think there's more disadvantages to being the first mover. And I take that across marketing too. Like watching all these channels, we'll test new channels and be first to like jump on and try them out. We were the first official agency partner to TikTok, to Snapchat, to a bunch of other platforms over the past 12 years. But then going heavy into it as a first mover, like usually that there's a lot more cost than benefit.
yeah, exactly. You've also said, I believe, that 90% of marketing should be scalable, repeatable stuff and only 10% viral. Why do most founders try to do the opposite?
Because they don't know. I mean, and it's funny you say that. Like that's literally how I pitch ourselves. Is like we're the scalable, repeatable version. Focus on marketing. Like we don't like the viral thing is should be 10% of your effort should be spent on how am I going to go viral or the creative side of it. 90% of your budget and your effort should be spent on what's scalable and repeatable because it's usually, by the way, the people that do that are first time entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like they're people that haven't done this because when you go viral, and I've dealt with it, I won't name them brands, but we've had it. It's a sugar rush. You get a bunch of bits really quick, and then it goes away. And if you haven't
Yeah.
built the pipes and the scalable side, it really goes away. You end up with nothing. And when you have to ramp up infrastructure to handle that viral load, and then it goes away, it is really bad. Your business can fall apart because of that. And people don't understand that. They're like, you make millions of dollars. You figure it out. It's like, no, you don't, because you have, let's say you make $10 million in a viral video that goes and drives you 10 million in sales. You build infrastructure for that 10 million in sales that over the next year, you don't sell anything. Well, that cost you 10 million bucks.
Eric, we're almost getting to the end of this podcast, but I do always want to hear a little bit more about the founder behind the business. So tell us a little bit more about Eric, the person. Where did you grow up? What were you like as a kid, as a teenager?
Born in LA, grew up in Ojai, a small town by Santa Barbara. Went to college in Arizona and then back to LA after that to Santa Monica. I Yeah, thankfully, I was a musician as a kid, so not a good
Oh,
one. I liked playing guitar, thought I would be a guitarist, but thankfully around 12 realized I wasn't that good. But that kind of drove an entrepreneurial side because at 8 years old, I told my dad I needed an electric guitar so I could be a guitarist like Eric Clapton, only other
yeah.
Eric I knew of. And he went, "Great, get a fucking job." And I, 8-year-old, went, "Okay," and started buying and selling Beanie Babies and doing all these other odd jobs and bought myself the guitar. Like I tried to start a music website for music equipment, an e-commerce
Mhm.
site. 12, my dad wouldn't sign the paperwork for my seller's permit, so it didn't end up launching, but I had
Okay.
everything ready to go. And then I ended up liking business and having a knack for it, having a knack for sales and marketing, and went to college for business management. Never really took marketing seriously, but I did take sales seriously. It was interesting because I was also the youngest kid in my class growing up. So I was a head
Mm,
shorter than everybody. So I was never competitive in sports. I was athletic, but not competitive because I was smaller.
yeah.
I wasn't, I was decent at guitar, but my friends, so I had friends at the moment they started playing, they were better than me within 6 months. Like none of these were natural to me. Business came naturally to me. So when I got the Forbes under 30, it felt for the first time like I won an award at a top level in the thing that I was meant to do. So business always
Mm,
came to me really naturally, and I've always really loved it. And it took until like probably that moment to really feel like it was validated of like, well, this is what my calling is. There's a lot of people like me, just like there's a lot of pro basketball players and football players, but from an income standpoint, from a like where I sit in that threshold, I'm in the big leagues of business, which is
yeah.
really fun and exciting. And thankfully, without being conscious of that as a kid, everything I was doing as a kid led to that.
Eric, so if people want to hear more about you, be in touch, where should they reach you? Where should they download something?
Yeah, at or slash Erik Huberman on any social platform, like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, uh, LinkedIn, etc. I'm pretty easy to find.
Excellent. Okay, very good. Well, Erik, I'm sure that people will have loved this conversation. Thank you so much for coming on to the Breakthrough AI Operators podcast.
Yeah.
And for the listeners, we'll have another awesome founder, not quite as much as Erik, of course, next week again on the show.
That's what a breakthrough actually looks like. One founder, one honest story, every week. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this with a founder you think is ready for it. Find us at baio.midstage.ac. See you in the next episode.